Have you ever set a huge goal, given it everything you've got, and then, poof, a few weeks later, you're right back where you started? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to tear down why that happens and look at a completely different way to create change that actually sticks. So, let's just get right to it. Why is this so hard? I mean, we always think the answer is just more hustle, more willpower, right? More grinding it out. But what if the whole playbook we've been using is, well, just backward? What if we've been trying to force a massive boulder uphill when we could just be flowing like a river? That whole difference between pushing and flowing really comes down to two completely different game plans. Over on the left, that's the old way, what we call the bottom-up approach. It's all about forcing change through sheer action, just hoping your mind gets the memo eventually. But on the right, that's the new way, the top-down approach. And this is all about changing your inner world, your consciousness first, and then letting your outer world just fall into line. I want you to think of this like you're installing a brand new operating system for your mind. It just completely flips the old goal-setting script on its head, and it's all built on one singular, really powerful idea. And that idea is this: your internal world. Your consciousness, your thoughts, your feelings, that's the cause. Your external world, that's just the effect. See, most of us live our lives completely the other way around. We let our jobs, our bank accounts, our circumstances dictate how we feel inside. We are going to flip that script. So how does this new OS work? Well, it follows a really clear order. It all starts with spirit. And that's your foundational state of being, who you fundamentally decide that you are. From that state flows the mind, which then creates the blueprint, with your thoughts and your vision. And then finally, the body, or your physical reality, it just becomes a mirror, a reflection of that inner blueprint. So it's spirit, then mind, then body, in that order. Okay, I know this might be sounding a little out there right now, but you gotta stick with me because it's actually grounded in some really fascinating science and psychology. So let's dig into the how behind this whole shift. So this whole idea actually mirrors concepts from the quantum model. Try to imagine your future as this invisible field of infinite possibilities, all just existing as waves of potential. Well, your focused consciousness, your attention, it acts like an observer that collapses all those potential waves into one single concrete reality, a particle. Put simply, what you focus on is what you get. That's the big cosmic picture. But how does this actually play out inside our own heads? I mean, what's the real biological thing that's turning our focus into our reality? Well, I want you to meet your Reticular Activating System, or RAS for short. It's this bundle of nerves at the base of your brain, and its job is to act like a filter for the insane amount of information hitting your senses every single second. It's like your brain's personal bouncer. And here's the crucial part. You can program it. You can literally tell it what's important, and it'll start pointing out more of it everywhere you look. Okay, so if we can consciously program our own personal filter, our RAS, then we can literally get it to filter our reality to match our goals. This whole idea comes together in a super simple 3-step daily practice that you can start using right now. So the whole practice has just 3 parts. First, we're going to write out very specific commands for our RAS. Then, second, we're going to use some clever tricks to install them without burning out our willpower. And third, we're going to light them up with emotion to really make them stick. Let's break down that first step. So why write by hand? Why not just type it out? Because handwriting is what scientists call a psychoneuromotor act. All those thousands of tiny, complex muscle movements that go into forming letters actually create a way deeper imprint on your brain's circuitry than just tapping on a keyboard. You're literally hardwiring the intention into your nervous system. Now, what you write is absolutely critical. There are a few rules to this game. First, you have to write in the present tense. I am, not I will be. See, your subconscious mind doesn't get future or past. It only understands right now. And second, you gotta frame it positively. Don't write I am not lazy. Instead, write I am disciplined. Your RAS is gonna go look for whatever subject you feed it. So, a perfect command looks something just like this. See how it's in the present tense, it's positive, and it's specific. This is the kind of crystal clear instruction your RAS can grab onto and start working with immediately. And hey, if you need a little more convincing about the power of just writing stuff down, get this. Studies show that you are a mind-blowing 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by the simple act of writing them down on a regular basis. That one little thing gives you a huge advantage.
All right, on to step 2, hooking the subconscious. We all know this, right? Willpower is like a phone battery. It just runs out. That's why trying to force a new habit with sheer grit usually ends in failure. So the goal here is to be sneaky, to use actions that are so tiny, so small, that your brain doesn't even bother putting up a fight.
And here are 3 awesome ways to do that. First, you can use micro-rituals, like a tiny 5-second habit. Think 1 deep breath before you open your laptop. Or you can try habit stacking. You just link your new scripting habit to something you already do every day, like right after you pour your morning coffee. And if you find yourself procrastinating, just use the 2-minute rule. Commit to just 2 minutes of writing. It's all about making the barrier so low, there's nothing to resist. And that brings us to the last and honestly, maybe the most important step of all. See, a written command by itself is just a thought. To really truly program your subconscious, you have to marry that thought to a powerful emotion. Your subconscious mind speaks the language of feeling. So how do you actually do that? Well, as you're writing I am abundant, don't just write the words. Try to actually feel the feeling of abundance in your body. Generate that emotion. And here's a pro tip. The absolute best time to do this is right before you fall asleep. In that drowsy, half-awake state, your brainwaves shift into what's called a theta state. That's when your logical mind clocks out and your subconscious is wide open for business. You see, when you start putting all these pieces together, the writing, the tiny habits, the emotion, you're not just picking up a new trick. You're installing an entirely new operating system. You are making a fundamental shift away from a life of constant doing and into a state of effortless being. And here's a cool little modern twist on all this. If you're struggling to get the wording of your commands just right, you can actually ask an AI language model to help you out. It can generate really specific, positive, present tense RAS commands that are perfectly tailored to whatever your goals are. It's a pretty powerful tool to make this even easier. So this is really the ultimate mindset shift right here. The old way is all about I have to do all these things to get the result. But the new way? It's I must first be the person who has the result in order to create it. It's the huge difference between chasing after your reality and commanding it from within. At the end of the day, this whole model suggests that your reality is just a mirror. It's constantly reflecting back the instructions that you're giving it, whether you know it or not. So the real question is, now that you know how to give it new instructions, what are you going to tell it to create?